Right, we're doing Deuteronomy. We're in chapter 6. We did the first half in the last video. We're doing the second half now. Verses, well, slightly more than the second half in number of verses anyway. 10 to 25. So let's read the first few verses of that section. Reading from the NIV. When the Lord your God brings you into the land he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, to give you, a land with large flourishing cities you didn't build, houses filled with all the kind of good things you did not provide, wells you did not dig, vineyards and olive groves you did not plant. And then when you eat and are satisfied, be careful that you do not forget the Lord who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. So, the only grounds they had for having this land, the only reason they got it, and the only reason they had any grounds for it, is because God gave it to them. They didn't earn it. They didn't deserve it. It wasn't the result of their hard work. It was the result of the work of God. But there's a great danger, which is referred to on two places in Deuteronomy. When you get there, when you get settled and things seem to be going well, you start saying, oh, I've done this. And that's something that all of us are capable of. We'll start forgetting that all the good things that we have come from God. And we think, I can manage on my own. The whole human race does that. Thinks it can manage without God. Well, it can't. And it says you've got vineyards you didn't grow, houses you didn't build, etc. That's true of all creation. For all of us, look at it. It's a beautiful day. It's a bit cold today, but it's a beautiful day. Where does the sunshine come from? Did you or I do anything to bring the sunshine? Think of your body. Who gave you your body? Now, we've got a responsibility to look after it. We've got a responsibility to look after the environment. Who gave it to us? Why is it there? Because God gave it to us. And we need to remember that. We will so easily forget it. It says, fear the Lord your God, serve him only, and take your oaths in his name. The danger being they would take oaths in the names of idols and stuff like that. Do not follow other gods, the gods of the peoples around you. For the Lord your God, who is among you, is a jealous God, and his anger will burn against you, and he will destroy you from the face of the land. Do not put the Lord your God to the test as you did at Massah. Be sure to keep the commands of the Lord your God and the stipulations and decrees he has given you. Do what is right and good in the Lord's sight, so that it may go well with you and you may go in and take over the good land the Lord your God and promised on oath to your ancestors, thrusting out all your enemies before you as the Lord said. So they had to fear the Lord, and again it's also it will go well with you. It says, don't do what the nations do. Do what God does. Do what God has told you to do. And it's like at tragedies of today, there's so often parts of the church will want to be like the world. Oh, the world thinks homosexuality is good. Let's follow them. What a daft thing to do. Who brings salvation? It's not the world. The world leads us into a mess. It's God who brings salvation. God is the one we need to follow and to obey and to seek to please. Don't try and please the world. It's the daftest thing you can do. It says, do what is right and good in the Lord's sight. What does the Lord think of what we're doing? If he's for it, then that's good. If he's against it, it doesn't matter if all the world's cheering us on. In fact, it won't. Churches which go down a sort of, it's called an affirming route. What it means is affirming sin. It tells you all you need to know about it. Those churches are dying. It's only churches which are genuinely seeking the Lord which grow. There's empirical evidence to support that. And then it's in the last bit it says, in the future when your son asks you, what is the meaning of the stipulations, decrees and laws that the Lord our God has commanded you? Tell him, we were slaves of Pharaoh in Egypt, but the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. Before our eyes the Lord sent signs and wonders, great and terrible, on Egypt and Pharaoh and his whole household. But he brought us out from there to bring us in and give us the land he promised on oath to our ancestors. The Lord commanded us to obey all these decrees, to fear the Lord our God, so that we might always prosper and be kept alive, as is the case today. And if we are careful to obey all this law before the Lord our God that he has commanded us, that will be our righteousness. Now, the essence is essentially if they followed the Lord, then they would live long and prosper, to quote from Star Trek. But we know full well that they didn't do this. Israel was a miserable failure, along with the rest of the human race. And these judgments which are promised here and elsewhere were carried out. The Assyrians conquered the northern kingdom of Israel, and then sometime later the Babylonians conquered Judah, and I can't remember the other tribe, it's Benjamin I think it is, but I might be wrong on that. They conquered the southern tribes of Israel. These warnings, the warnings which God gave, they were carried out because Israel did not obey the word of the Lord. And God reminds, look, remind your children, keep them. I'm saying, now that's why. Why? Because of what God has done. In that case, because God brought them out of slavery in Egypt by his power. If it wasn't for God, the nation wouldn't have existed at all. They'd all been still stuck in Israel, in Egypt. And for us, it's the cross. That's right, it's perfectly right for us to be always going on about the cross and the resurrection. Because that's the key acts in our salvation, is the cross and the resurrection. And Christ is our righteousness. So from all this, it's very clear that obeying the Lord, it's not just God giving them the land. He was giving them the land, and in this land, it's how they were to live in the land that matters. For us, it's not just a matter of being saved. It's about changing the way we live. You look at the epistles of Paul in the New Testament. It's quite clear that they taught their converts how to live. So on that note, we'll call a halt there.